Hi, I'm Wycliffe Barrett. This is Xplane Dedicated. So we're going to talk about all things Xplane this morning. It's Sunday morning. I haven't had a shave for a few days and I'm feeling a little bit scruffy, but there is so much to tell you that I just need to get right into it. I'll tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Xplane 1030B6. We're going to talk about Amd drivers for graphics cards, and we're going to talk about NVIDIA graphics cards. Also, I'm going to give you an update to EFASS, and also something that myself and a small team have been working on beta testing, which is SkyMax Pro version 2. So, where do we begin? Xplane 1030 Beta 6 was released last night, and you've already seen the vlog that I did about 1030 Beta 2 or whatever, and what was in that. 1030 Beta 6 is almost release candidate, I would say, and there is so much in it that it is absolutely mind-blowing. Some of the main things that are in 1030 Beta 6, and I'm getting confused with numbers, is the new GNS system, which is absolutely superb. And basically the GNS is the GNS 430 and the GNS 530 are new autopilots, absolutely breathtaking. But also what has been fixed is a number of issues around distant haze and fog and cloud. Remember when we first got to Xplane 10 when we first got this, you kind of flew along and you hit cloud and it was just grey and you couldn't see anything at all. All that has been changed in 1030. So you have a gradual kind of dissipation of cloud, etc. And that's default clouds as well. And when I get on to EFASS and SkyMax Pro version 2, it's a different thing altogether. So the other things in Xplane 1030 are to do with Amd drivers, and there's quite a few problems with the Amd graphics cards and Amd drivers, and in fact one catalyst update caused immense problems for people and they were actually crashing and all sorts of things. So that has been sorted out. I'll talk about that in a minute, I hope. Further, there are new art assets, so 38 new art assets which make the buildings look different. So in some countries they'll have grey roofs as opposed to red roofs, etc, etc, and a better placement of tower blocks around airports as well. That's going to be a lot better, so no longer will you have the fear of coming in on approach and seeing a 32-story tower block on final. That's been fixed. Numerous other updates, absolutely mega loads, and the best thing to do is look at the the update document. The other main feature is that you will recall, some of you will recall, that there was this thing known as the airport gateway, and basically people were submitting airports to Laminar in the hope that eventually they would turn up in Xplane. Well, in the download that I did last night, there were over 700 airports included. So that's 700 custom built airports, mostly built by users, but custom built. And that is a real leap forward, and that will continue to develop and grow, and with each new update there'll be a whole new tranche of airports as well. Okay, that's Xplane 1030. I think, I can't swear to it, I don't know when it's going to be released, but I think it's just around the corner. It's not that far away, so it's really, really exciting. So, AMD, NVIDIA. There's always this big thing about which card is the best. Is it NVIDIA? Is it AMD? I don't think it really matters. A couple of years ago, AMD were lagging behind, and then NVIDIA came out with the GTX series of graphics cards, and so they were lagging behind. But my understanding is that AMD has now caught up, and their graphics cards are equally as good in terms of power as to the NVIDIA cards. But there was a problem with the catalyst drivers and caused problems for Xplane users. That has been sorted out. They've been doing an awful lot of work in the background, working on AMD and working with AMD as well. So that has been dealt with. NVIDIA never had any problems, okay, but I do want to talk about setting up of graphics cards, okay. Now, I don't know about AMD, I used to, but I don't anymore, but they have the thing called the Catalyst Manager, if I recall. or the Catalyst experience or something like that. And basically what you can do within that is you can alter all the parameters of the graphics card per game or per application, exactly the same as NVIDIA. But the big suggestion is that wherever you can allow your 3D application to manage its own resources, then allow it to do so. So rather than using the Catalyst experience or whatever it's called, and the same for NVIDIA, and it is called the NVIDIA experience, just set everything in that for 3D application. Okay, so basically rather than the graphics card doing the work, you're going to ask Xplane to do the work. You then go into your Xplane settings and set it however you want, and it'll be fine. If you set, and this is the same for NVIDIA, if you set the graphics cards to do things and then ask Xplane to do things, you've basically got the rendering settings of Xplane fighting against the rendering settings of the graphics card, and the two, we get into a mess and it doesn't work. Okay, so let Xplane do everything, allow the graphics card to use the 3D application to do everything. And it's the same for NVIDIA, so I don't really need to talk about NVIDIA in any great detail. NVIDIA has always been okay, it's just that AMD went a little bit daft and a little bit silly. So, Xplane 1030, graphics cards. Now I want to talk about EFASS, which is the electronic flight assistant that has had some major updates. And chief amongst these is something called Ultra Weather, or Ultra WX. And when you go into EFASS, you'll see a tab that says Ultra WX, and that's Ultra Weather, and you click on that and there is a whole range of weather settings. Now a couple of people out there in the internet sphere, or whatever you want to call it, are a little bit upset because what the guys at EFASS have done, they put something into their product that they had created, or not so much they had created, but they had discovered within the SDK of Xplane. But, and this is the major difference as far as I know, EFASS has got licensing or has got permission from Austin Mayer to actually be able to use those elements of the SDK within their program to enhance Xplane 10. Okay, and it enhances things like the weather haze, the weather, you get real weather injection. So basically we're talking about a weather engine, and it is absolutely brilliant. It's brilliant in its execution, and it just looks so good. And when you see images on screen and you see that distant haze, absolutely superb. Okay, so that's the weather engine. What about the weather textures? Well, the weather textures you can get from SkyMax Pro. I've had SkyMax Pro version 1 for quite some time, and I was invited to put a small team of beta testers together for SkyMax Pro version 2, and we've been testing that for the last couple of weeks, and it is absolutely breathtaking. It is beyond imagination. When I first got Xplane 10, when I first got this, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was fantastic. But now, with EFASS SkyMax Pro version 2, it is beyond everything that I imagined. I've been in and around flight simulators for a good 20 years, and what I see now on my screen is beyond anything that I could ever imagined. Thunderheads, we was flying last night and there were thunderstorms. We actually saw thunderheads, towering cumulus nimbus up to 40,000 feet, and lightning coming out of the clouds. Not just a lightning effect, a flash, but a lightning fork coming out of the cloud and hitting the ground about 10-15 miles ahead of me. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, we've got shadows under clouds, so as a shadow goes across an airfield, as a cloud goes across an airfield, you see the shadow underneath the cloud. We've never ever seen that before in a flight simulator. Never ever. So, you know, everything at the moment is just absolutely amazing. I can't tell you how good everything looks. So as the video ends, or as I stop talking, just have a look at some of these images as I put on the end of the video. And as always, I'm Wycliffe Barrett, and this is Xplane Dedicated.